Hello everyone, it's Hillary Franz, the Commissioner of Public Lands for Washington State, and it's Earth Day. It's a really important day here where we're raising the profile and the value of our Earth and how important our environment is for protecting our communities, keeping them safe, and growing our local sustainable economy. I'm blessed to have with me Heidi with the University of Washington Climate Impact Group, as well as McBroom from the Nature Conservancy, and we want to talk a bit about what we're seeing in the landscape and some of the challenges we face here and opportunities we can to improve that. So we in Washington State are seeing more significant catastrophic wildfires every year. Last year was one of our worst years on record with 1,850 fires. It started in early April and went all the way to October, and we had a new phenomenon with 40% of our fires west of the Cascades. And then just last month, in the middle of March, unprecedented, we had 54 fires in the second week of March, with 53 of those west of the Cascades. Something is definitely happening here, and tell us what you're seeing based on a changing climate and what its impact is having on Washington State, from wildfires to forest health to drought.
So many of the things you're describing are exactly what we anticipate with a warmer, hotter planet. So we've already warmed Washington State by 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit since 1900. That's about the global average. So it's getting warmer. But we also think about fire, right? We've mentioned lengthening seasons, so fires coming earlier, lasting longer, more and bigger fires. So as we warm the planet, we dry out our forests. In the Pacific Northwest in particular, we're seeing less snowmelt, or less snowpack, earlier spring snowmelt, and hotter, drier summers. And these are all things that contribute to making our fires more prone to wildfire. So when we think about what happens in the future, we're also living it now, but when we think about the future of the Pacific Northwest, we actually expect the area burned by wildfire to nearly triple by mid-century. So this is the 2040s. That's not that far away. And then when we dig a little deeper and think about the connection between wildfires and climate change, it's certainly a complex topic because humans and land management practices all have to do with health and status of our forests and how prone they are to wildfire. But there's some really amazing research that's showing that actually there's a direct connection between the amount of forest fires that have burned since even the 1980s. In the western U.S., 4.2 million hectares of land across the western U.S. can be directly attributed to human-caused climate change. That's nearly double the area burned if we didn't have human-caused climate change. So we're seeing the impacts here and now, and we're projecting out to the future, where the main take-home is that even here in the Northwest, on the east and the west side of the Cascades, we're expecting more and bigger wildfire.
Yeah. So one of the things we are grateful for our work and our partnership with the Climate Impacts Group is we went out and set out saying we are seeing these changes, and we believe the best thing we can do for Washington State, for our communities, for our economy, and our environment is to actually be aware of those changes and start being able to create more resilient communities, more resilient landscapes. You've been helping us with the climate risk assessment and now the development of climate risk plan for all 6 million of our acres, which is in every county of this state. And so thank you for your leadership on that and the University of Washington. One of the things that we've done in that climate risk assessment is we realize as people say, is this the new normal? Is there anything I can do about this? Are we just stuck with this reality? We do believe that we can make the significant changes in our landscape to actually improve them and make them more resilient to a changing climate, to the wildfire conditions. And one of those that we are taking a lead on is our forest health work. Thanks to the partnership with the Nature Conservancy and your leadership, we've been looking at how do we make our forests more resilient in the face of changing climate, in the face of fire. Mo, can you tell us a bit about what that means? How do we make our forests more resilient in Washington State?
Yeah, there's huge opportunity. So we know that for thousands of years, fire is actually part of a healthy forest. It's a critical part of the landscape. But for the last 100 years or so, we have fought all the fires. We've suppressed every fire we can. And what that means is our forests have now a lot of unhealthy, even dangerous underbrush and vegetation. So even as we suppress fires where we need to protect communities, we also have an opportunity to bring fire back onto the landscape in a way that is safe. And this is called prescribed fire. And prescribed fire essentially is when firefighters go out into the forests and they, in a very careful and diligent way, bring fire back onto the landscape to remove the underbrush, and so that the trees then, the healthy, strong trees remain unharmed. It's a great solution. And we can do this. So we've identified, the Nature Conservancy has identified 2.7 million acres across central and eastern Washington that need this treatment, and DNR has really led on coming up with a plan for how do we address this. But we need resources. We have huge opportunity, it can create a lot of jobs, we can get this done, and we need to act now because climate change will only make our fire season longer, smokier, and more dangerous.
So one of the things that was so impactful for me is before I came in this position, Representative Joel Kretz from Okanagan, Tonasket area, took me out onto the landscape and he said, Hillary, you have to see this with your own eyes to understand it. Where the fire had come through the valley in 2015 and had just ravaged this forest area. And then it all of a sudden stops, literally at a line, and that line was where the forest had already been treated. They'd got in, dying diseased trees had been removed, sort of that woody debris on the floor, and then brought prescribed fire in. And it literally had made a stronger, more resilient fire, and that is how we can actually make our forests more resilient in the face of fire and changing climate. This year, we are right now, we've got the plan for forest health plan. We got a wildfire strategic plan. And what we need right now is dedicated funding that will enable us to go into the forest and be able to do this treatment. As I say, we're gonna pay for it regardless. We're paying $153 million annually to fight fires in this state. And the question is, do we wanna pay to react in the face of smoke and fire and risk and damage to our communities and potential risk to our firefighters? Or do we want to be proactive? Get in there, remove the dead, dying, diseased trees, remove the smaller diameter, send it to the mill, create local jobs, and create more sustainable wood product for housing and our other built environment. And I think it's a huge opportunity for us to get a win that takes care of multiple problems. So please stay tuned. We're working tirelessly this session to get this dedicated funding. Happy Earth Day to everyone. Thank you for your leadership. Please know you can also reduce fires by 95% of our fires are caused by humans. So your activities in the woods makes a significant difference. Thank you so much.